Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Ryan, he's Mike, it's Eggs.
This is eggs. This is eggs. This is eggs.
Get all the eggs. Get all the eggs.
Okay. Anyway, we're back again. It's Thursday. Actually, we're recording this on a Tuesday, but it's Thursday for us, or Thursday for you listening. And we're really excited. We've got our interview. Our guy who we had lined up for last week wasn't able to do it, and we were able to reschedule to do it this week, so we're really excited. The man, the myth, the legend, the guy we're going to be interviewing today, his name's Anderson. He goes by Anderson Bluu online.
So I got to ask, is Bluu your actual last name, or is that just kind of like a name you took on?
Dude, this is my intro. What are you doing? You're interrupting my intro.
Oh, sorry. Finish your intro.
No, I'm just joking. I'm curious. So anyway, Anderson Bluu, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing?
So cool. All right. So to Mike's point, Anderson, where did the Bluu come from?
The Bluu actually came from my clothing brand, Bluu Dreams. I've been doing it for 5 years. The whole idea for the clothing brand was to have an aquatic themed brand based from my hometown of Long Island. So the main logo is a deep sea diver, and what I do is I like to take go ahead,
Anderson. I'm sorry to cut you off. Are you listening through headphones, or are you listening through speakers?
through headphones. Is it coming through the speaker?
We're getting
just
some
hearing
feedback.
a beep. It sounds like a smoke alarm or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. She's cooking and she's about to burn the house down.
It is a smoke alarm.
My bad. Yeah, it is.
No, don't sweat.
I was freaking out, like looking at cables and stuff. Like, what's going on here?
No.
sounded a little like feedback.
That's her burning dinner. My bad.
Okay.
Excellent. Anyway,
Sorry.
proceed. So
Yeah.
your clothing company, you were looking for something aquatic theme.
Yeah, so that's where the name Bluu Dreams came from. Blue from the water, dreams from, going out there trying to make it happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So to give everybody a little bit of background, I met Anderson a year ago. Well, I guess it's been almost exactly a year ago now at the Weapons of Mass Creation Fest that we've been plugging for like 6 weeks now because every week we're talking about the stupid thing. But anyway, I met Anderson out there in Cleveland. Basically, I was the lone soldier who had arrived in Cleveland and didn't know anybody. So I got on Instagram and I started just looking for, the hashtag WMC, hashtag whatever. And I finally found a group of guys, but actually found Anderson first and got rapping with him a little bit on Instagram. And he was kind enough to invite me over. So with Anderson at, what's the name of that taco joint? Is it Barrio? Is that what it's called?
I don't even remember. It was delicious, though.
Yeah, I think it's Barrio. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we met over at this taco place. I sat down with the guys and was introduced to Will, who anybody who heard the episode a couple weeks ago, Will Truren. We interviewed him a couple weeks ago. I met Anderson and a couple other people who will meet down the road. And so anyway, but really great experience. But basically, Anderson let me into the circle. And so because he was the one on Instagram paying attention when I was lonely and looking for friends.
Hey, man, I give you credit. I mean, it was a smart way to do it. I mean, that was before, Instagram is what it is now. But, yeah, I'm happy that you came through. And, it was a blast. Unfortunately, you caught me when I was, my knee was all messed up. And, it was hard for me to walk. But
Was that when you tore your ACL? I noticed you posted something about that a while ago.
Yeah. So, literally that summer, I was trying to be Superman, play sports. I tore my patella tendons, pretty much the same thing that happened to Victor Cruz. Oof. And then because of that, it's very hard to walk. You gotta learn how to walk again, and you gotta go through all that fun stuff. So
yeah, no, I felt bad because we had sort of our little posse, and we were walking from place to place to place. But poor Anderson had like a full leg, kind of.
Yeah.
He'll catch up. No big deal.
So,
exactly, but other than that, it was a good time. So
how long were you down for?
You mean my injury?
Yeah.
God, easily a year.
Well,
now I'm somewhat back to normal, but
Well, and before that though, your whole thing is, I know you as an artist, and that's why we met there. But you're like an athlete. You're all these things also, right? So you didn't break mess up your patella doing an illustration job.
To be honest with you, that's the good thing about being an artist and playing sports, that after you get hurt, you have so much free time to knock out some freelance jobs. So I can't be too mad at it.
Yeah. So anyway, so you're an athlete. What's your sport of choice?
To be honest with you, it's basketball. That was what got me into, you know, the college that I went to. I walked on. I played ball. I've been playing ball all my life. Just a big sports fan. So I've done football. I've done baseball. I've done track. But my go-to is just basketball. I'm not sure how old you guys are, but when I was young, everybody wanted to be like Mike. So
that's about to write it.
Yeah, I think we actually might be a tad older than you. Actually, yeah.
Okay.
You're just a young buck at 30, but I'm 37, so I'm the old man in the crew. But
okay, not that far off.
Yeah,
but when Michael Jordan first came up, hearing the story about how he tried out for his high school basketball team, he didn't make it, and then he had to rework his game, and next thing you know, he was the number one person in college. He made his college team, and we all know the story.
Yeah, he may be the number one person ever.
Exactly. So
cool. So you're originally from Long Island, right? And you still live there currently?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's great. Well, I mean, I have to imagine, like when we met. So one of the things that Anderson does a lot of is these sort of sneaker posters and sneaker illustrations, things like that. And it seems like Long Island or New York in general is a good spot for that. I mean, do you think in general that area is pretty receptive to that style of art?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was basketball and being around family, because I have family like in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Queens. And, whenever I play ball, I would go hang out with them. They would always come with like fresh kicks of either Jordans or Nikes or, just the hard to find stuff. And whenever they would come around, it just always piqued my interest. So I just think being around that at a young age is what influences my taste in design now. You know what I mean?
Well, that makes sense. And I mean, anybody that sees Anderson's work, and if you check him out on Instagram, it's just at Anderson Bluu, but Bluu is Bluu. So Anderson Bluu. You can really see, exactly what we're talking about. The sort of the Michael Jordan influence, the sneakers, the sort of that whole sort of basketball, that b-ball lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of that influence in his art. Also, and one thing that it's kind of interesting, and I can tell that we grew up sort of in the same era though, and sort of with some of the same influences. And I had to share this with you sometime, but I did a illustration as a kid that was I did a Bear Jordan and a Hair Jordan at the time of all the Space Jam stuff and the Hair Jordan. And you did a poster sort of recently. Well, I guess I don't know how recently it was, but with the Hair Jordan and Michael Jordan on the same poster. And and I know that you call back to that every now and then. But I ought to show you some of my old crap.
Yeah, man, I gotta see it.
My stuff never got that good, but.
Are your prints pretty much your go-to these days, or is it kind of mix everything?
Yeah. So I guess what you're seeing is me kind of making a career shift. It's slowly happening, but it is happening. It's funny that we're talking about the injury, because if it wasn't for me getting hurt, I'd never ever would have done the art prints.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what happened was, I've heard people doing it, but I just didn't think, like, in my head it didn't make any sense. I'm like, nobody's gonna buy, like, spend money on prints to, hang it on their wall. Like, in my head, T-shirts was the go-to. So when I got hurt, I was like, you know what? I always told myself I want to do art prints, but I just wasn't sure what I could do to stand out, because everybody was doing the same thing or, doing pop culture stuff. So I was just like, you know what? And it was funny because it was right after we met at Creative South. I was like, you know what? I talked to a lot of people, and everybody's saying that, you should do what you're into, like do what you love. And I'm like, well, I don't know many artists that really do basketball or do sneakers. So, you know what, maybe I could, mix that world of sneakers, pop culture, and basketball. I'll try it out and let's see what happens. And because of that, that's what opened up, me being able to travel the country, do the Anderson Bluu tour. And it just really, I just feel like I caught lightning in the bottle. It just opened up, a new avenue for me as an artist.
So you've been to a bunch of different, like, Comic-Con, SneakerCon, Soul Exchange, all over the place. Break that down for us. Is that like a logistical nightmare to get all your product there? I mean, I can't even imagine trying to, ship merch and then show up and make sure it's there and then get a booth set up. And
To be honest, it's actually easier with the prints. It's a nightmare with the T-shirts. Because, with the prints, I can get, let's say 10 designs of paper in, like, in a suitcase or two. and I'm good to go. And you know how much it costs for a suitcase? It's not much.
Yeah.
But to be able to get like 10 different designs with different size runs and do all that, that's when it becomes a logistical nightmare.
Yeah,
But
no. and I can totally relate to that. We used to have a clothing business too, and so I can totally feel you.
yeah. So that's why, when I first did Blue Dreams and like, the first 5 years, it was always tough to get on a plane. Like, it just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? Because I know I would make money, but all the money I make would go to,
Shipping
my
and-
bottom line. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Tour
those-
shipping and stuff like that. But,
is the overhead like super expensive to get a booth at one of these places? I mean, I can't.
not
imagine they're
really.
cheap.
To be
Really?
honest with you, it really depends which one you're gonna do, and the most expensive one that's gonna really kill you with overhead is like Comic-Con San Diego, Comic-Con New York. But outside of that, it's not too bad, to be honest with you. With the amount of people that come in, I think it's worth it. And I guess it depends on what kind of numbers you want to do. But I wouldn't go if it wasn't worth it.
Well, good. That's
Right.
good to hear.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about your tour and some of the places you've been and where you're going to be going. But let's kind of go back in time for a minute. I want to just get into, how did you get into art in the first place? I mean, I understand you're an athlete, you're all that stuff, but a lot of times, or at least in my experience, the athletes aren't generally the artists. So like, where did that interest in design and all that come from? How did you get into illustration and sort of, how did we get to here from there?
So pretty much what happened was that same family members that wore the cool sneakers and the cool Jordans were into art also. So it was more of like a graffiti style, that kind of influence. And
I love
so
that stuff.
yeah. So whenever I would see them do their work, I was like, you know what? I want to do it, but when you're young and you see like the comic book style, it's super intimidating. So, I started off slow. One of my go-to characters I would draw was like Snoopy and Garfield, just to kind of build some courage. And then after that, like ever so often, like I would jump back into art and, give it a shot. And then I just feel like after a while, my skills started to develop. I think what happened was I did it at such a young age because I started, at least in third, fourth grade, I was drawing. So I think because I started at such a young age is what,
Drawing all the time, or just kind of when you had some downtime?
To be honest with you, I was never paying attention in class. So whenever I was in class, I was drawing 100%.
You sound just like me.
Yeah.
So, no, that's awesome. So cool. So yeah, so a lot of family influence. I love that it was Garfield and Snoopy. I have a bunch of those old drawings too. That sort of was my beginning. And I went down the graffiti path also when I was a little younger.
I've seen your work though,
Yeah,
and
so-
glad you didn't go that route.
So, but yeah, no, it's funny how many parallels there are.
Yeah,
so,
man.
As you've continued through this journey, like, let's go. All right. So you started drawing at a young age. You started doing, some general illustration. Practice made perfect. That's how it
Right.
goes. So then at what point were you triggered to sort of get into the clothing business? What spurred that on?
To be honest with you, it was college because through the end of middle school through high school, I was showing my family what I was doing with my designs. They thought it was cool, but I don't know if you know, my family's from the Caribbean. I'm Trinidadian, so my parents came from Trinidad over here, so they don't want to hear that there's someone to be an artist. They're like, no, you can get an education and you're gonna get a good job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I just thought if you was an artist, you weren't making money unless you worked for Disney, unless you made that jump. And to me, this was like almost impossible to make that jump. Like I thought somebody had to come and like choose you. Like, you know what, God gave you this talent, so you can go work over there. So it wasn't until college, my senior year, I knew I was going to go to school for business administration, and I was taking an entrepreneur class, and I was just throwing around ideas. And when I was in class, I was just drawing because, like I said, I always draw. It never changed. In class, I drew a design that was I Heart College, right? So what I did was I took out the two L's to put two red Solo cups and a beer pong ball at the bottom.
Love it.
So when I was showing my friends, they're like, yo, that's cool. Like, that was a t-shirt, I would wear it. And I was like, huh, really? So I took my scholarship money from track because I had some scholarship money left over, and I would spend money on, like, sneakers, of course. But I was like, you know what? Instead of throwing the money out the window, how about, I get a heating press, get some transfer paper so I can make some shirts. So buy the heating press. It comes in a week later. Get the transfer paper. I asked my friend who's a graphic designer, because I didn't know anything about Illustrator or Photoshop yet. So I was like, hey, man, I had this idea. Can you bring it to life? He looks at it like, yeah, man, no problems. Like, well, we're in college. I really got money like that. But whatever I make, I'll give you like, I think I gave him like 40% or whatever. He was like, yeah, he was down. So literally, I got the printer, got the heating press. I just turned my dorm room to like a sweatshop. Made a couple of shirts. Gave a few to my friend, gave one to my friend that designed it, my roommate, me, and we're walking to class, and people ask, like, yo, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get it from? I'm like, oh, well, we have a few in our room. We're selling them, so just let me know if you want one. Everybody's like, yeah, no problem. I'll come through. So next thing you know, that Thursday, I have like a line of people coming out my dorm room, like literally buying shirts.
Do you have it? Do you have like an actual image of this shirt still, or is it kind of?
Yeah, no, I do. I'm sure I can find the image. Yeah,
post that on Instagram for us. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no. I'll definitely throw it up. Hashtag Throwback Thursday. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, I told my roommates, like, how about on Thursday, we'll make a whole bunch of shirts. We'll walk around with Jello shots. Whoever buys one, we'll give them a Jello shot or whatever. So
I love your marketing. This is genius.
Hey, I'm trying to make it happen. When you're in college, that's what you can do.
Well, Jello shots in college, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, no, that's a hustle.
Exactly. So that Thursday, me and my friend do a loop around the campus. So we have like 40 shirts, like 40 Jello shots. And literally in that loop, I sold every single shirt. All the Jello shots are gone, and I have like a pocket full of money.
That's
and
right.
And then and I was just like, yo, I think I want to do a T-shirt brand. Like that was it. That's what kicked off the idea.
So
for me,
what kicked off the Bluu Dreams? Like the diver guy, love for water. Like why water?
To be honest with you, I just wanted to do something that pretty much took a nod back to Long Island. So I wanted to pick something different because I knew the I Heart College design was cool, but I just felt like I'm leaving school. I can't sit here and have a whole brand about college. That's crazy. So I need something that would last. You know what I mean? And I felt like
build the whole brand around one idea.
Exactly. So I was just like, you know what? I am a fan of the ocean. I do like the beach, and I know other people feel the same way. Like this is something that I could do for a while. I could be 30, 40, and it's still relevant. Yeah. So that's why I was like, you know what can I use that people don't use? I didn't want to use a shark. I didn't want to use a wave. There's no personality in that. I was like, you know what? I remember watching Scooby-Doo, and there's always that deep sea diver, and nobody uses it. I was like, you know what? Let me go with that. Let me do something totally different, because at the end of the day, it represents a person. You can't, it doesn't represent a gender, it doesn't represent a race, it represents a person. And the whole motto of it was to make waves, and I felt like people could relate to that.
Yeah, no, I actually, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool. And really, for anybody that hasn't seen it, it's bluudreams.com, BLUU dreams.com. And I mean, the whole line is great. I mean, it really is cool. And it's Anderson's illustrations. They look dope. And it's a way, basically, if you're nervous about buying a print, you can buy the shirt. And
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really great stuff on there. I love the Simpsons nods and some of these Disney ones. I mean, it's killer. Yeah. So do check out the website.
I personally like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy, the Stay Hungry.
Oh yeah, keep grinding. Yeah,
I love that. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So cool. Well, so now we have, let's, as we're going down memory lane here, we've got a clothing brand. Mm-hmm. We are doing pretty good. We have moved from trunk of our car to, are you sold in retail stores, or do you just do it online? How do you traffic your shirts?
So if you're going to go down memory lane, so pretty much what happened was after college and I was getting everything going, just from doing my research online, I learned that the best avenue was to also have a website, but to get your clothing brand in like retail stores and stuff like that. So just from, hitting the ground running, just talking to stores, just cold calling, I was able to get my clothing brand stores in like Vegas, Florida, Long Island, New York. When I say New York, I mean like Manhattan, sure. And things of that sort.
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think, it's a really competitive market. There are a million people with a million brands, and I think you have a really unique perspective that, probably made it easy for these stores to carry your stuff. Mm-hmm. Is the clothing line, like, is that number one for you still, or number two, or is it, I mean, where, like, are prints number one now and this is number two, or how does it all work in Anderson's world?
For right now, the clothing brand is still there. It's not going anywhere. Right now, the prints do have my attention. It's just opened me up to more things than the clothing brand could do at the moment. Like you said, everybody and their mother has a clothing brand. It's an oversaturated market. And I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying it because that's what it is.
Well, it's also, the overhead's probably a lot more too.
Exactly. It is.
Yeah.
And, as far as the art prints, I just see where it can be. So right now, that's where I'm putting my full attention to. But I don't, in the future, I definitely see myself dropping more designs, hats, keeping both things rolling.
For sure. Well, and I mean, we have a little questionnaire that you fill out in advance, and I think what I really like is this little quote, hashtag quote of the day. It's art as a business, and I think a lot of people think of art as being sort of this romantic thing with the starving artist and all that good stuff, but most of us like to eat food, and most of us like to go have a drink every now and then, and that all requires money. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that ability to sort of pivot and recognize that, okay, this is not, I mean, of course you don't want to cheapen it to just chasing the money, mm-hmm. but at the same time it's, okay, clothing is what it is. It's really hard. It's a difficult market. It's mm-hmm. time consuming, and overhead is high. Mm-hmm. Where art prints, it's maybe easier for me to build a niche. It's easier for me to make a name, and the overhead's low, everything. And so in terms of getting going on business, mm-hmm. it's maybe the smarter path. And and I think that ability to pivot, though, is something that a lot of people don't have. I mean, I know a million people with a million clothing lines who have stuck with it too long or whatever, and it's fine if it's a project of passion. But I think that you've got to look at, like you said here, at the end of the day, art is a business, and 90% of the businesses don't work. Mm-hmm. So you've got to really try hard to sort of break into a market, and I think it was really smart of you to sort of pivot to what's working.
Mm-hmm. And you know what it is? It's just that I don't mean to go back to my injury, but I had so much free time to think. So after I got hurt, I think I was on bed rest for a month, and it really put a lot into perspective because, when you're building a business, and let's say you don't have a day job, you probably don't have insurance. So if you get hurt, and these certain things, these certain, natural necessities that you should have as an adult, you don't have those, you start to question like, well, I am sacrificing for this, but how much am I sacrificing? So with that free time that I have, is really asking myself is like, what, Blue Dreams is great, but I have to also be able to keep my mind open to other things that could happen. I had no idea it would be the art prints. Thank God it was. But I just feel like it's taking that self-reflection and just really looking at the bigger picture and just saying 90% of businesses don't work. And you have to be well aware of that. You know what I mean? And I feel like, just like you were saying, you can't, one of my biggest issues with some artists is I get that it's art and it's your passion. And I totally understand that. But at the same time, if it's not putting food on the table, and you're taking every design that somebody's giving you, you're probably not putting out your best work. If you're not putting out your best work, people don't think you're that great. You know what I mean? So it's just trying to find that balance in, you putting out your best work as an artist and also treating it as a business.
Yeah. And I think that really shows you're savvy because, I mean, I think, I don't know, this sounds funny to say to somebody that's younger than me, but like a mature thought, like that's a smart way of approaching the business. So mm-hmm. I really sort of respect that. So I did want to talk to you also about, you recently have put together a tour that was sort of to support these prints, I guess. And so the idea being, take these prints on the road, get them in front of more people. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me or tell us how the sort of that whole process worked, how it all came together, how you chose events, that sort of thing?
Right. Yeah. So before the summer or the summer that just passed, I just knew that the prints were doing well. They were doing great online. And one thing that I feel like is overlooked when it comes to any kind of business that you do is if you have something good or even if you have something terrible, you need to put it in front of people to see if they're going to buy it or not. So I told myself, I was like, you know what? I think it's doing okay. I need to go to the market where all my people are. So I knew it was like, all right, I got to go to Comic Con, go to Sneaker Con, and I need to go to as many of these as possible, and create an event around it, so people actually want to come out and see me when I come to their town.
Well, one thing that I saw, I was doing a little research on you last night, just trying to find out more about you. And just on your Instagram, it was cool seeing the kids wanting to take a picture with you and their dad, and the print right in front of them. I mean, like, I've done some radio stuff, and I've been out on location and had kids wanting my autograph and stuff, and I'm like, they don't even know who I am. I'm no one. My autograph means nothing, but just the wanting the photo and just, it's a whole different experience. It's kind of, it's surreal. Have you kind of like wrapped your head around that yet, or is it kind of like, are you still kind of, is it awkward for you every time someone does that? Because it's awkward as hell when they do that to me.
I'm pleasantly surprised every time that it happens. I did one event in DC, and a father came with his son. He threw me off guard. He was just like, "Hey, are you the guy?" I was just like, "I hope so." Unless unless you're here to take me out, then no. And then he was just. But he was just like, no, like, are you the one that does the sneaker prints? I'm like, oh yeah, of course. And then he's like, yeah, my son heard about you on YouTube, so we came here just to see you. I'm like, oh wow,
that's awesome.
Like you stopped your whole day to come here. I'm like, of course, I'll give you stickers, I'll give you a T-shirt. Thanks for coming out. Whenever I do these events, and especially if you come to see me, my whole goal is to make sure that I show you that I appreciate you coming out. Because there's I've been on the other side. I've went to other people that I've seen online, or I followed them, or other clothing people, and I go to show love, and I feel like they're just like, all right, man, cool, thanks for coming out, like, autograph your stuff, and it's just like, be gone.
Dude, the first time the kid came up to me and asked me for an autograph, I was like, what? are you okay? Yeah. I had no clue what to do.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. So like I was saying, I just try to make the person know that, I do appreciate you for coming out, and, thank you.
Yeah. That's key. You got to acknowledge the effort that they put into it, because it's, if they're coming out just to see you, that says a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, really cool. So your tour, where did you go? Where did you begin? How's it gone so far, and where are you heading?
So I started off in New York. I did an event called 5 Points Festival. That's like it's mainly a toy festival, but it has like street art and prints and stuff like that. So I went from starting in New York, my hometown, then I went to DC, then I went to LA, and where else did I go? Texas. And then after that, I'm going to ATL, Georgia, and then going to Canada. I might have left the date out, but that's, that was pretty much my whole summer. And then I did New Jersey. So every month I've done something. And in July, I did 3 events in 1 month, which was
wow.
Yeah,
that's brutal. That's a job in itself.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So now, how do you balance this? Like, is this your full-time gig? Do you work part-time? How does this work, or how does this fit into what you're doing?
So what most people don't know, by day I'm a tax accountant. That pretty much means I do taxes.
Dude, how are you an athlete and a tax accountant and an artist? Those 3 things just don't go.
I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense. But here I am. So pretty much in a nutshell, my dad started the business. So after college, he pretty much was like, you know what? Let's try to build this. Let's try to do a family business. So that's how I got into that.
Oh, okay. Well, that at least, ties it together a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I randomly got a college, like, you know what? I'm going to start doing taxes.
I'm sure it's your experience too, but I bet you can't count on one hand the number of artists you've met that are athletes and accountants. So
no, oh yeah, no. I think I went to Creative South. I started telling people that, like, yeah, I do accounting. Just like, wait, you could do my taxes. I'm answering people's questions. I'm just like, nobody knows how this works, huh?
Yeah, no, you could probably find yourself a little niche helping artists.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's really cool.
But man, I forgot where I left off. Were we just talking about?
Oh, we were talking about
just talking about the tour.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep, Atlanta's coming
Sneaker
up.
Con, and that's on the 23rd of this month, right?
Yes. So just trying to, go out, meet as much people as possible. Like I said before, I'm just trying to show as much people what I'm doing, because it's just one thing I've learned through Blue Dreams is it takes so much to get something new going and to get a business going. So if you think you got something good, you need to get it in front of people. You need to let them see what you're doing. You need to get feedback. You gotta get out there.
You think face to face is the best way to do that?
I do. I think it's a mixture, to be honest with you. I think you have to be, you have to have a great online presence, because after you meet the people, you want to have some type of platform that keeps them up to date on what's going on. It could be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I think that's what the kids are using.
I downloaded that. I opened the app once and I never used it.
Yeah, you're showing your age, Mike.
I mean, I'm trying. I've heard good things about Snapchat. I really, really have. But
yeah, no, and it's funny because like I've whittled it down. Like we used to try and maintain every platform, and I just do Instagram now.
You know what it is? Everybody I think everybody has that one platform they feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, and that's definitely been the case for me. Yeah, Instagram is my spot, and it makes sense that for you, like an artist, Instagram is a great place to showcase work and things like that.
Right.
So you mentioned that the kid that came in with his dad, they found you on YouTube. What's up with that? Do you do a podcast?
Where would we find you on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. So what happened is there's like kids who have like their own sneaker channel. So what happens is they'll buy a print and they'll do like a review on it. So some of these kids have a really big following. When I say big, I mean they might have 100,000, 500,000 people that follow them.
Oh, wow.
Just showing the shoes that they got that weekend.
Yeah, exactly. They show the shoes, and lucky for me, they'll say, "Oh, I got this new print from Anderson Bluu."
Oh,
and
that's
so,
right.
Some people come over to the Instagram and say, "Oh, wow, he's coming to my town." And that's just how, everything starts to work in like a funnel. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
That is really cool. Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you, and maybe I don't know how much you know about this or how much maybe it hasn't affected you at all. I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
What about licensing? Has anybody ever given you crap for using sort of likenesses? I mean, you can see in most of your work, you cut off heads or cut off whatever.
Right.
So I assume you're trying to skirt around some things.
Uh-huh.
But have you ever had any trouble? Anybody ever come after you or given you grief about that?
No, I haven't had any issues. I know I'm well aware I'm playing like the gray area where I'm not selling. You know what I mean? Like I'm not taking an organic thing that happened from that character. I'm kind of making up my own scenes and, putting my own spin on it. But
well, you got the Mickey Mouse with the diver helmet on it. I mean,
you
haven't got a nasty gram from Mickey?
No, nothing. Believe it or not, nothing. But recently, what's been going on is people are actually stealing my art prints, designs, and they're throwing it on other stuff. So,
they say, what is it that? It's the greatest form of flattery when people are ripping you off. Right?
Yeah, but also a paycheck is a good form of flattery
brutal.
too.
Yeah, that'll make me wipe away my tears with the cash.
Yeah. So, but I mean, some of the prints you've done recently, because you've been super prolific lately, and tell me how this works. So, with the prints, they go on sale for like a month, or do you just do a limited run and then they're gone, or how does that work?
Yeah. So every month I try to do a new print. So, I try to do like 12 a year. I'm trying to see if I could do more than that. But I want this to be limited. I don't want everybody to have it. When I do these, I'm treating it pretty much like a sneaker release. I'll let you know a week ahead. If you're on my email list, I'll let you know. And then you have 72 hours to pick up the print. I usually drop it on a Thursday. After Sunday, it's off the website. You cannot get it on the website. And that is it. As far as the event,
how many do you usually do per batch?
I usually do. I've done some for 100, some for 250, but lately I'm gonna make it even more limited. I did one Spider-Man one. That one was dedicated to my dad after he passed away this year.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But I did it because even though he did not want me to be an artist, once he saw how passionate I was about it, he started to back. He was like, you know what? Who knows what might happen? This could be the next best thing. Just keep doing it, So that one, I only made 54 of those, and that was because he passed when he was 54 years old. And that one, sold out that weekend. And once it's gone, I'll never remake it again.
Has this been your model the whole time? The limited
Yeah, the whole
edition,
time. Yep.
Okay, I just wondered if you had some experience where you could say whether it worked one way better than the other. I just wonder if this exclusivity is actually part of what makes it hot. That everybody knows I've got this little window to buy it.
I think so because when I first started doing it, like people would buy it here and there. But what's happening is people become repeat buyers, and then they're now collecting them. So now I know people that have like 5 and 6 prints.
That's awesome.
And they're trying to go out their way to be like, oh, can I get that one? Or they're trying to find somebody that has that to get that from them.
Do you think you kind of picked that up from the whole sneaker thing? I know that I've got friends that will drive to Portland with a 3-hour drive at 4 a.m, stand in line just to get a new pair of kicks. And I personally don't, like. Most DJs are into the whole Jordans or into Adidas. And that's the thing. I mean, DJ AM had like 600 plus pairs of shoes, and he would buy 2 pairs. He would wear one, he'd put the other one on ice. I guess it's called like dead stock.
Yeah.
Like, they never put the actual laces through it, kind of thing. So, I mean, like, do you think that's kind of where your print idea came from?
I would say, the sneaker culture had a big influence on it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I wanted to create something that was collectible because I knew, everybody does prints, everybody does T-shirts, but if everybody can get it at any time, it's like, why do I want to get it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this definitely creates emergency. I think it's a really smart strategy, actually. So, with that, so I mean, oh shoot, I forget where I was gonna go. Yeah, so recently, the prints that are out there, I've got to say, there's one that you've done recently, and maybe this is older. I don't know how recently it is. But it's got the basketball in the hand. It's sort of the what's that surf company? Why am I forgetting?
Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got sort of that Santa Cruz vibe. I love that, and I'm super jealous of the Yeezys in your Star Wars print.
Oh yeah.
So I've been trying to track some of those down, but I can't get them anywhere. I'm like one toe into the sneaker culture.
Oh no, don't. I mean, if you want them, I can get them for you. It's just too expensive. Expensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure I carry that much. That's that whole one toe in. But yeah, no, I do like it though. So cool. Well, I guess then tell me, like, when you go and do one of these shows, what can somebody expect from you, and like, what kind of advice could you give to people who are trying to get a whether it's a clothing brand or whatever off, and they're doing sort of the trade show circuit, can you give any advice on how to help them sort of do that? Now, in my past, we used to have a clothing company. We worked a lot of, we were sort of MMA centric. And so we spent a lot of time at the fights and things like that. And, trade shows that were related, and damn, man, it's a hustle. And like you were saying earlier, especially about the T-shirt business, we always made money, but we made enough money to print the next batch.
Exactly. It always feels that way. Don't worry, you're not the only one.
Yeah, no, clearly. I'm loving your story. So, but so can you, what have you found that works? What doesn't work? Do you have any advice, whether it's at trade shows or online, e-commerce or whatever? Have you found anything that works really well for you? Like this urgency or this urgency created by limited editions is obviously one tool, but are there other things you found that work for you?
Yeah, I could definitely give some advice about the whole T-shirt, getting your T-shirt brand out there and how to do it the right way. I think at the end of the day, no matter what you're selling, you need to let people know about it. So when I say that, meaning, let's say let's use your T-shirt brand, for example. Like, you're doing MMA-inspired T-shirts. Well, you need to go to every MMA magazine and say, hey, I have this awesome T-shirt brand that you need to cover. You need to either put ad space in there, maybe do an interview with them, maybe get on podcasts for MMA. You know what I mean? Like, you need to submerge yourself so much in that culture that, there's no way people don't know about you. You know what I mean? And that is one thing I think I made the difference with Blue Dreams and the art prints was with Blue Dreams, I was in streetwear culture selling stuff about the ocean. You know what I mean? Yeah. But with the art prints, I'm selling art prints to people who are sneakerheads. I go to every single sneakerhead event. People that show videos are sneakerheads. You know what I mean? Like, I am in it all the way. So there's no way.
It's a whole subculture that you didn't even realize it was that big.
Oh, it's humongous. Like, I always knew about it, but like now that I'm really in it, like, I know how to go about it. So I feel like if you have a clothing brand, instead of just doing something like I don't know, just some loopy designs that you think that are awesome with a couple of skulls, some snakes. I just feel like you need to sit down and be like, okay, treat it like a business. What am I selling? Who am I selling it to? Okay, I'm selling to MMA crowd. I need to figure out how to get in front of these people, how to get their, the content creators in that space to talk about what I'm doing. And if I could do that, then you might have something, you might get something rolling. And I feel like as long as your designs are good and you have like a really good business, or you're doing good work, then it will catch on. It really depends on, what kind of products you're putting out there. Either it's jeans, t-shirts, button downs, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't let me speak for you, but I mean, what I'm taking from that is like that it's about that hustle.
Right.
It's about getting out there. It's about hitting the streets, and it's actually pushing that thing.
Right.
I'm sure that because you're around artists and things like that. I mean, the difference between the artists that are successful in selling prints or selling art or whatever it is. That it's the ones that hustle. It's not the ones that spend all day talking about the thing they're going to do or this super ethereal idea for something. It's the ones who actually execute and go to work.
Right.
And so like you're saying with a clothing company or whatever, it's about going and doing that work.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, can you give me like when you were maybe getting going in the clothing company or something, what was sort of like, I don't know, maybe your worst failure or some kind of misstep that you came across?
Ordered too much of one product or the wrong size, or
Oh my God! Yeah, I could tell you. Oh my God, I could tell you a few bad ones. So I'm a self-taught graphic designer. So for whatever reason, I thought it was a good idea that I would, start a clothing brand when I don't know how to use Illustrator or Photoshop. I don't know what came over me, but it made sense. I thought, I know how to draw. I'll just teach myself the programs. It will be fine. So in the beginning, I made a lot of shitty designs. There's no way around it because you don't know how the process works on printing, getting the t-shirts printed, sending vector images. So what ended up happening was I just had, images that were blurred. They were just too big, too many colors. So I pretty much, in the first 2 years, was throwing money out the window. Like, period. That's it.
Yep. Been there.
So, and I mean, I've got a note here that, when you were first getting going, you kind of dumped a bunch of money into a little craft fair.
Oh, yeah, that too.
And I've got to say, I mean, it hit me, hit close to home because we did the same thing. We took our brand out and we invested in a big, in our case, it was a motorcycle rally. And God, I can't even remember what the booth cost. But I mean, we set ourselves up for failure before we even got started.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
And I think that's like a really common mistake. I think people, that maybe their eyes are bigger than the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get into a situation like that where they want to get out there in front of people. So they're half right. But the other half is you can't overspend or you're not going to make any money.
No, I definitely hear you. I think with that event that I did, it was my first event. So I didn't understand on like doing the research on who's going to show up to the event. Like, is this person good at bringing people down to the event? You know what I mean? Because when I first did it, I was like, I have the iHeart College design. So if they're doing an event in a college, I should sell out. That's it. I should make money hand over fist. So it was like a holiday craft fair show by some random person. I don't know. She charged everybody way too much. I don't think anybody came. In fact, I remember I was walking around the school a week before to put up flyers just to say, like, I was going to be there with a T-shirt or whatever. And people was like,
find a single flyer or anything promoting the event.
Couldn't find a single flyer about the event. People were just like, oh, that's cool. That's going to be here? Are you sure? There's no event here. What are you talking about? No, nobody in the college knew about the event. I was devastated. I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, man, I just, put all the money I had to this table. And I got all these T-shirts. In fact, I bought extra T-shirts in different colors, thinking I was going to cash out. And, I didn't sell anything.
Yeah, I had a time frame when I first started. I used to do concert promoting. And the very first event I ever promoted, I had more staff show up than people actually showing up for the event. Yeah, I had more security staff, and I had paid for the venue. I had all this other stuff.
Was that the event in Utah?
That was the one two blocks from here.
Two blocks from where we're recording right now.
Yeah. I rented out a big old soccer arena, and I was going to do like a dance kind of thing there, thinking, it's big, it'll hold a lot of people. There's a bunch of colleges nearby, and I didn't think about it, but all the colleges had their football game, like the starting day of football was on the same day that I was doing my event.
Oh, no.
I didn't even cross my head, didn't even think about it, and so nobody showed up. I had it was horrible. Good learning experience, but
yeah, I do have to say though, it is encouraging talking to Anderson, hearing your story, like sort of that we've all kind of had the same failure.
Yeah,
like that makes me feel like we're actually all progressing in the right direction. So I think when I met you in Cleveland, I want to say that shortly after, or maybe just before, you were working on a pop-up shop.
Yeah,
and can you talk about that a little bit? I think for a minute, those pop-up shops were kind of a happening thing, a trendy thing, and then I don't hear as much about them now. They're still all over. But can you tell me like what that experience was like? Because you don't have like a physical storefront somewhere, right?
No, I don't. This is why I tell people, if you have a clothing brand, or if you have a product, or you're making art, if you could do a pop-up shop and you could afford it, you should definitely do it. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. That event that you're talking about was like a barbecue that I did with a clothing store in Long Island. I did it with them a few times. Went very, very well. People will come out. We'll have burgers. I had one of my friends who's a chef, so he made like everything fresh on the premises. Nice. Oh, nice. And with that one, I really ran with the theme. So we actually had like a barbecue inspired T-shirt design. I can't remember the catchphrase. I think it was like cooking. Oh, nothing but fresh goods. I think it was like fresh goods. And that one, I also went with the limited edition route. I think I only made 12 T-shirts, so I did like a baker's dozen, and they all came in pie boxes. So if you bought it, you got a pie box.
That's
and
awesome.
They sold out literally in the first 45 minutes. People came out, they're like, yo, what? It's in a pie box? Yeah, I'm definitely getting that. So me and my friend the whole time, like we had like the chef caps, like, the Chef Boyardee caps. So we had that, and then we had like the apron with the design on it. So that was really, really fun. But what made that pop-up shop actually happen was I actually had my first pop-up shop the holiday season before. So for 2 months I had my own location, and it was just me, and I pretty much themed the entire pop-up shop around my winter collection called Blizzard Beach. So Blizzard Beach pretty much was my idea of like if Blue Dreams had its own ski resort. So once you walked in, I did a mural on the wall of mountains. It was a very clean setup. Once you walked in, you actually got a ski ticket, and ski ticket lets you in. There it had like hot chocolate, free cookies, and in there it had like snowboards, had like the whole ski, the ski goggles, and all the designs was inspired by like a underwater themed ski resort. So that's what
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super clever. I stinking love this stuff. So, all right, so let's talk just briefly. Let's get into what the future looks like for Anderson Bluu, and where you're going to go from here. Mm-hmm. What's coming up with the prints? What's coming up with maybe your art in general? Mm-hmm. with Blue Dreams? What do you got going on? What's coming up?
So pretty much, I'm going to close out the Anderson Bluu tour for 2017. Got Georgia coming up this month, and then have Canada. And cross my fingers, I'll close out in New York. Right now, my main focus is just to try to keep the art prints going. Like I said, do one a month, just keeping the ball rolling. Last year was my first year doing it, and it was probably my best year as an artist. So, I definitely don't want to drop the ball with that. And just planning, after the winter comes, because not many people trying to do anything during the winter time. Is just trying to plan out what I want to do for the future. So go ahead.
Wintertime, I saw you inking some the hip hop elf. I saw your video.
Oh yeah.
You should do some ugly sweater prints of that.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. I feel like everybody loves ugly sweater prints, right?
So, anyways, I thought that was badass. We do a big kind of DJ Christmas get together thing, mm-hmm. and I was just like, dude, that'd be perfect.
That would be dope. Yeah. But just more traveling. I got invited. What most people don't know, I got invited to do more overseas events, but with everything going on with me currently, I wasn't able to do it. Like, I got invited to go to Australia to do SneakerCon with them.
Oh wow!
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that one, they had one in Australia and Hong Kong, and they were more than happy to have me come down. But unfortunately, timing is everything. So definitely next year, I'm going to do more of those overseas trips and definitely, just try to hit a broader market. I do have people that buy the prints from overseas, a lot of people in Japan, a lot of people in Hong Kong, a lot of people, just outside the United States. So it'd be good to meet those people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think they're all hungry for American culture too. So I think something
true.
as uniquely American as sneakers and sort of that, even basketball really to a large extent is really an American thing. So I have to imagine that really resonates. I mean, when you said Hong Kong, that seems like the place that buys the most sneakers. I don't know anything about anything. They just seem like the type of people that would be buying a lot of sneakers.
Well, that and a lot of bands will actually they'll be doing okay in the States, but then they go over, they play in Japan or Hong Kong or whatever, and they're huge. It's
really
a whole another market. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. So okay. So we've got Atlanta this month. We've got Canada. Can you give us any kind of sneak preview? What kind of things are you working on for the prints?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to give away the subject. I understand where want to keep it exclusive, but
yeah. I mean, and
any little tease you can give?
Now I could definitely talk about the newest one I have coming up. I was on Instagram, Instagram Live telling people what I have coming up. So my next one I'm doing is for one of my favorite movies, Kill Bill. I don't know if you guys saw it.
Yeah, I saw a couple of the sketches.
Yeah. So, right
I'm not
now,
gonna lie, too. I love those shoes.
yeah, I do too. Like, I feel
I
like,
don't know if she's wearing specifically the Onitsuka Tiger, but that's my jam.
yeah, no.
I've got that about 5 colors.
Oh no, I'm a big fan of Asics. So I was just like, I want to do something different from Jordans. I was a big fan of the movie. I'm also trying to incorporate movies that have like sneakers play a big role. I know for like people who watch them who aren't sneakerheads, like it's not a big deal. But when she wore those, like a lot of sneaker brands came up with their own spin on like a collectible sneaker because of Kill Bill. There's one store out here called Extra Butter. They actually did a whole sneaker collection called like the Deathless 5, and every sneaker was with every assassin. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, the next one I have is Kill Bill. It's going to be called Party at the House of Blue, for obvious reason. But it's funny because actually that's what it's called in the movie when she fought what's her name, Cottonmouth, right before she fought her. And that club is called like the House of Blues. So I was like, you know what? Let's go with that one. So that'll be my next design.
That's great.
Right
So
there.
when do you drop? Like you say you do each month, but is it towards the front of the month, back of the month? When can we watch for this next one to come out?
Honestly, it all depends when it's, whenever I get it finished, to be honest with you. And then just make sure I have enough time to promote it. But this one I'm hoping to have ready for Atlanta, and Atlanta's on the 23rd, so it should be the end of this month.
All right. Well, you better get to getting that.
Yeah. I'm actually wrapping it up. So
Excellent. Oh, we can't wait
there's
to
no
see
reason why I shouldn't have it done.
Yeah. What about collaborative stuff, collaborations? You ever have any interest in doing that sort of thing, working with other artists? Like, do you have any heroes out there that you'd like to work with?
Yeah, I've done some collaborations. Even outside from the art prints, that same store did a barbecue with. They did a capsule collection for the Mets. So it was me, Reebok, Mitchell and Ness. There's another brand in there. Like we all did a piece. So like Reebok did a sneaker, Mitchell and Ness did like a jacket and a hat. I did the t-shirts, and then all together we did like a capsule collection. The name of the store is Renard's. So, every now and then I do collabs. I don't do them as much as I used to because I'm so heavy into art prints. I'm trying to, stay tunnel vision with that. Sure. But as far as artists, one of my biggest influences, especially with the clothing brand, even to the art prints, is my dude Cause. Just no denying he's one of the best artists. He's going to go down as one of the best artists of our times. He's going to be like him and Shepard Fairey.
Yeah,
but I just think I resonate with Cause. Like I get it. I could just tell that we grew up on the same influences. If you're ever doing Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob, and I just think he's a genius the way he just spins it. And I don't know anybody that sells as much as this man. Especially if you're doing screen prints for $30,000, that just shows, and it's sold out. That shows me you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, it really is all about building a perception or a following around an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in cases like that, or even in your case, for example, I mean, you've got these sneaker prints, but I mean, really, that's a pretty niche group of people. You know, obviously, that's not an everyone is your market. This is a group of people, but it's I think really cool, especially now in sort of the internet age, that anybody can sort of push anything because there's a million people for every niche.
Yep.
And I think in the past, like, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, like, it would have been probably a little bit more difficult to have something so niche because
it would have been very difficult.
You couldn't put it wherever, it would have lived underground. And now, I mean, you can build whole audiences, like you were talking about earlier. You've got these YouTube kids that, all they do is report on sneakers and sneaker stuff, but they've got millions of listeners.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's incredible. And, but I think it's an opportunity that exists that, couldn't have not too long ago, really. Let me ask you, I want to just ask you one technical question before we get you off the hook.
Yeah, sure.
I want to, just for people who listen to our show, basically the moral of the story, or the reason the show is called Eggs, is basically we use the egg as kind of a metaphor for people growing an idea, sort of from coop to table. You're taking your little
table.
you're taking your little egg and you're sitting on it, you're harvesting it, you're protecting it, you're growing it until eventually it hatches, right? So we use it as a metaphor for that. But sometimes I like to focus on some technical details or information that I don't know that everybody can get, to maybe help people stem off some of the trial and error and some of the some of the pitfalls that it sounds like the three of us have all tripped on. So, and this is just kind of a silly technical question, but can you talk a little bit about e-commerce? What platform you use for your t-shirt shop? How you sell prints online? Is there any little pointers you can give, or even names you can drop in terms of technologies you're using or things that have made selling a physical product online easier?
I'm going to be honest. I keep it super, super simple. My website's run on Shopify. When I first started out, one of I think it's the big mistakes most people make is they just try to do too much, especially when they don't have a staff. And when I say that, I mean we want a super custom website. We want to have videos coming out. We want to have pictures jumping out at people. We want to do this, that, and the third. And, that website costs $20,000. You know what I mean? And when I was doing Blue Dreams, I was trying to do a lot of custom work to stand out. I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go back to the basics. I'm going to get a website that does it so well, like an e-commerce site that does it so well that I don't need to hire somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I just need it to look very, very professional, take the person's money, and let them know that they're going to get the product. You know what I mean? So, and of course, be safe. So, that's why I use Shopify. As far as, getting people to my store or my social media, honestly, it just goes back. It's just to the word of mouth. It's just me being so in the culture that I'm in. That's how people find me. I think my funnel is 95% of people that find me is from Instagram. Like, that's how huge Instagram is. And I'm telling you those numbers from, my website. So that's what I do. But cool. I know, if you're into Snapchat or Facebook, I feel like you could do the same thing. It's just...
Sure. But like you say, it's all about finding your audience. And in your case, you're shopping prints, and Instagram does a pretty good job sharing visual things.
Right.
Yeah, let the art sell itself, pretty much.
Yep.
Well, that certainly helps you identify your audience. Well, cool, Anderson. That's super helpful, because I think, a lot of times, and maybe you experienced this in the past too, you have a limited supply of money, at least most of us do when we're trying to get something going. And, I think it's really difficult for businesses that are getting started and young people who are trying to, get into the t-shirt game or whatever it is. They don't really know how to spend the money the right way. Whether it's, where do I invest? Do I invest in product? But if I put all my money in product, then I can't do marketing. If I put it all in marketing, I have no product, or do I invest a lot in a website that's custom? Or do I use sort of a pre-built solution and keep my costs down?
Have you ever messed around with that print-on-demand kind of shirts or anything like that? Or do you do all your own printing?
I do all my own printing. And when I say that, I just have a company that does it. When I first was really... Because I feel like print-on-demand is really, really big now. Like 3 years ago, people weren't really messing with DTG like that. I think it actually just got good. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing that I'm always worried about, like trying something like that, is A, the quality of the shirt, and
right.
B, the quality of the actual print. Like
I
I
know.
would be worried about just sending, having some third party do it for me without having some sort of, me at least approving it.
No, I definitely
No.
agree. I feel like if you're a small business, you should definitely have your hands in it as much as possible. But what I think is going to happen, to be honest with you, I think maybe in the next 10 years, most of these brands are going to go to print on demand and just not tell you, just print it. Because just from a business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense to have all that product just sitting there. You're just
sitting
wasting
there,
money.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It just makes more sense just to order comes and you make it and you send it out. It might cost more, but the amount of money you're saving from not having to warehouse these products, it just, me and my friend were talking about it. And I really think, I don't think screen prints are going to go away. I just think bigger companies are going to lean on that. But if you're a smaller company, I would say, do screen printing and put as much heart and soul in your packaging because, people are not walking into a store, so they don't know what they're getting. So if they get, your T-shirt in a shitty bag, then it'd be like, well, that sucked. You know what I mean? But if you send something like a dope packaging with a thank you and it's, packaged right and you have a story about it, people feel good about that purchase and they're going to come back.
Well, and the thing that gets me is when I'd say I do 80% of my clothes shopping online just because I don't like going to the store and looking for it. I just find a design I like and I order it. And when you get one and it's a piece of shit, it's like,
Well, it's all that value added,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the price of T-shirts. I mean, Anderson's been at it long enough to know this too. But like when we were in the T-shirt game, T-shirts were $15, $20. Now a T-shirt's $35, $30, $40. And so, but with that means they want something for it. It's not the same cotton T-shirt it used to be. Now it's got printed or sewn in labels. It's got custom packaging, like to Anderson's point. And so I mean, you're doing things to add value for that increase in cost. And so, but I agree with you, Anderson. I don't know if you got a chance to meet the guys while we were in Cleveland last year, but to give a shout out to some other friends there in Cleveland, the guys at Jack Prints
Yes.
are doing on demand. And actually, the last day I was there, they took us through their little on demand facility so I could check it out. And I think you're right, man. I think it's finally come around.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because I mean, they've got these machines that look like big, like inkjet printers, but they're printing with screen printing ink, and it's.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty dope. And so, I mean, I haven't seen a ton of the output. So, I mean, I don't know if it's 100%, and like Anderson said, and I've said in past episodes, I feel like there's a little bit of a movement towards, handmade things and things that are sort of more crafted and have that heart and soul in them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's always going to be an audience or a market for these, short run screen printed shirts that are sort of done in an old style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think on demand is definitely going to have a place, but I think that, this isn't going to die either.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but on that point, let's go ahead and wind this down. Anderson, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you want to share with any people? Sort of parting shots?
Man, just thanks for having me. It's good. It's good to connect. You know what I mean? Nice to.
Yeah, no, I hate that it's been so long. So
No.
I was out in New York earlier this year, and I wasn't able to catch up with you. And so, but maybe I'll be back out there again this year. So
Yeah, definitely let me know. Nice meeting you, Mike. But for everybody else, you could find me at bluedreams.com, and Bluu is BLUU. And as far as Instagram, you can find me on there too as Anderson_Bluu, just like the company name BLUU. And yeah, just the Anderson Bluu tour. If I'm in your town, come out.
Cool, yeah, and everybody join his Instagram. I mean, if for no other reason than to see a lot of cool art popping up every week. He's really prolific on Instagram. So, and what I love about it more than anything is you really get to see the process. Like, I think for a lot of people who do design,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we're all sort of a little naturally insecure, and so for us, it's always kind of entertaining to go and see how other people's process looks and see how they arrive where we're all trying to get or whatever. So I think that not only is it fun and colorful, your Instagram, but I think it's also got some utility because I think it's helpful for artists, especially up and coming folks, to take a look at. So with that, let me give a couple plugs for our end. For more information on me or R2 Media Group, our company in Salt Lake City or in Spain, it's r2mg.com, R2mg on Twitter, or at R2 Media Group on Instagram.
You can find me at djontic.com. That's ONTIC. And all my social links are on there, so feel free to follow.
Cool. And last but not least, you can follow the show at eggscast.com or at eggsshow on Twitter and Instagram. And with that, we want to say thanks a ton to our dear pal Anderson Bluu. Wish him best of luck, and keep an eye out for him on the road.
Thank you, fellas.
So cool. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.